for a better deal.
Thank you, ma'am.
In deference to my colleagues, I've had a couple of minutes to actually think of an answer and actually answer the question. Because, I mean, no, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, I really don't. I just took a moment to ponder the question. It's about philosophy. And you need to support and vote for people that think like you, like we do. It wasn't on socialized medicine. You know, I'm against socialized medicine. I'm against cap and trade. I think it's an egregious tax. I think that there have to be other ways to gain compliance and a reduction of some kind of a carbon footprint than this thing called cap and trade. It creates a whole new layer of government and more and more government when we're all about less government. So, but it's that philosophy. When I was on the city council, I came up with a 10-page ad valorem tax relief plan. It had nothing to do with the city government, but I actually came up with a plan that creates real equity between long-time homesteaders and new homesteaders, second homesteaders, snowbirds, non-homestead, commercial. And I tried to sell that to the state legislature. But as a councilman, you don't get a whole lot of, you don't really have that bully pulpit. But I think you need to put somebody in there as mayor who can work with the League of Cities, work with other mayors that share a concern like that. I also have this idea, I'm never going to run to go to Washington or Tallahassee. It just, I can't see that. But I often thought if I did, my motto would be, change my 1040. Change your 1040, because there's so much waste throughout the entire country, and yet governments, little governments, keep wanting to take it and take it and take it, and individuals want more because they know it's not going to change that line on your 1040. We have to unite and change the line on your 1040 and make it lower. Thank you.
Thank you. One more question. And they did change the line on my 1040. It says, how much did you make? Send it in.
My name is Steve Corsetti, and I asked this question, and I'm sure the three of you will recognize why. Given your prior experience as city councilman, how will your administration differ in how you communicate and what your expectations are with the city council, given that there should be some new members on that council come January?
I think that's a great question. You know, in working with neighborhoods and in the volunteer groups that I've worked with, I'm a collaborative person. We all sit down at the table and we talk about what we share as interests, and that never happened when I was on city council. It was always administration driven. City administration had their agenda. Although it said council agenda, it was not. And I think that's still true today. It's not a council setting policy at all. It's reactionary. And I'd like to change that, because I think whoever's on council comes in with some ideas, and I think it'd be fun to sit down, and I think it's actually our obligation to all sit together and figure out, okay, what are our goals as a group, policy-wise, and how can we implement those? Because I think as we go through this process and we're out there, every election is a new opportunity to talk about what's important in the community, and you hear, as you get out there on the campaign trail and talk to folks, you hear what those concerns are. So I envision us getting together and discussing collaboratively what our collective goals are, and then establishing the policies, and then of course it's the mayor's job to implement them.
And I think that especially in these lean budgetary times, I think that the next mayor is going to have to work even closer with the city council members as we assess and prioritize need versus want, and really change the philosophy and focusing on essential city services and what's important. The neat thing about the city council is they each represent 30 to 35,000 residents of the city in all different parts. There are 8 of them. And they go to all of the neighborhood meetings, They are the eyes and ears and the real connection, your conduit with City Hall. And any mayor would be foolish to not take advantage of that wealth of information that they glean from the community. And it hasn't always been that way. I represented District 3. Stormwater, dredging, issues like that were a big issue. We had some issues in Fossil Park, but not near the issues in another district where they had drive-by shootings, where drugs and prostitution on the street is a common occurrence. I didn't have that. But I was able to work with my colleagues and exchange information and learn what is actually going on citywide. And I think working with the City Council, not only in budgeting, but in setting policy and sharing a vision for the future prosperity of the city. They are the eyes and ears, and I think that collaboratively we can do a lot more in that spirit of cooperation, early and often engaging the City Council to share that vision. Thank you. That's a great question.
Let me backtrack 1 second before I answer your question. Healthcare is broken. The answer is we need to solve it, not the government. That's the science. Government does not solve problems that create them. Okay. When I was on council, myself and others were accused of being confrontational about many issues. The answer is, and the comfort that I had, is that we did ask the right questions. We maintained the ship. We did the right things. And yes, sometimes that went on. So the role of the City Council comes from the mayor. The mayor's got to provide the leadership. The City Council is really the keeper of policy being presented and the keeper of the budget. Those are the things that present checks and balances within this city that will make this city be good and better. So the roles are, the mayor should provide the leadership. If you end up being on City Council, I'm not going to have a problem if you disagree with me, because at the end of the day, where we're going to end up with that equation is what's best for the city. So I think there needs to be a role, and I don't think the City Council needs to do everything the mayor says. And coming back, I look at it as always as a check and a balance that's good for the overall outcome of the city.
All right. Thank you so much for coming out and facing the people. Because thank you for understanding that it isn't about the position. It's never have been. It's never been about what you get to do or what nice big comfy chairs, unlike those that you get to sit in for hours and hours. It's about the people. Thank you for coming, because you understand that your government is about you. It's not about what they do. We have to get out of the mentality it's about what they are doing. It's about what you're doing. What am I doing? Am I making this city, this state, this country better by what I do? Long past is a luxury that we can let it happen automatically or let somebody else do it. I don't mean any disrespect to any elected officials here or anywhere else, but we've seen what they're doing. We've seen the fruits of their labor. It's time for the adults to get back into the picture and put the children back at the children's table. And that's what we're doing here today. Thank you ever so much. I'd like to thank the 9 and 12 Patriots for what they're doing. And we got one more announcement before y'all head up out of here.
Willie, you're wonderful. You're welcome.